Welcome back, everyone, to another exciting live stream. As always, we have our knowledgeable English teacher, Brad, joining us today. Brad, it's great to have you here again. How
Great to
have
be
you
here as
been?
always. Oh, well, I'm so eager. I'm interrupting you. I'm okay. Things are unseasonably warm in Prague. How are things in Sweden?
Uh, it's been every other day where it's like trying to be spring and then it's cold. Yesterday, we had a little bit of snow, just a few flurries, and I was
Mhm.
putting out the gardening boxes and getting ready to do some gardening, and I thought, great. Are these snow flurries? And today it's sunny and beautiful, so
Yeah,
it
it's
seems
it's
that
warm here too.
it seems that it's always sunny when I'm working, and then when I have a day off, I get snow flurries.
Hmm.
So that's funny.
Hmm. Okay. I'm the host now. I think that's a grave mistake. Ah, hello, Ellie. Are you there?
Yeah, I got a warning saying that the live stream wasn't working, so
Ah,
there
okay.
we go. But that's good to know that if I'm kicked out, you're still live. So
Yes.
if I ever leave, you're on your own.
I was just about to think, well, let me get started with those facts we have for our topic today. What is our topic, Ellie?
Strange and crazy U.S. state laws. Hmm.
Mmm,
Yeah.
weird.
Uh, this I thought this would be a fun live stream to do because we do have a lot of strange and crazy laws that are still on the books, and that if someone were to make a complaint or call the police on any of these things, there could be a fine or some sort of jail time. Now, I wasn't able to find what the punishments were for each of these because that's left up to a judge,
Right.
and it's at their discretion. So it could be something as minor as doing community service, where you have to, pick up trash or work at a soup kitchen, or do some community work, some type of work with the public. Um, uh, I wasn't able to find what the punishments were for these.
Mm-hmm.
Just a lot of strange and crazy laws.
Mm.
So we'll take a look at the first one, and this one was suggested to us. I think you sent it in, or someone you know sent it in.
Yes,
So
this
I'll let
was
you start with the first one.
sure. So this was sent to me by my good friend and former boss at the Intrepid in New York, Zach Blutner, who I managed One World Observation Deck, which you see a picture of here. And I know Zach watches these, so hey, Zach, thanks for the rule. So he told me that when riding in an elevator, one must talk to no one and fold his hands while looking toward the door. A
Oops.
rule that a law that I personally broke all the time living in New York City. So fair enough.
Well, as you can see in this picture, this is a glass elevator, and they are facing away from the door and they are pointing at things. So they are definitely breaking the law.
Well, actually, that's a neat little elevator at One World Observatory where you go up and you see a timeline of New York history. So you see the skyline being built as you go up. And one thing I like about it is it acknowledges the original World Trade Center. So you see it for a moment and then it fades away. I think it's very tasteful.
Okay. I've not been to New York, so That's very interesting.
You are missing out.
Have you been there
To New
by
York,
Zoom?
or
No, to
oh,
this.
One World Observatory.
Yeah, this observatory.
Unfortunately, no. They opened it just after I decided to move to Prague. Zach wanted me to work for him there because he was going to help open it, but by that point, I'd already decided to come to Prague.
Oh, okay.
But
Well,
I hear
something
the
on
view is great, and that's usually one of the ones I recommend when people go to New York.
something to do the next time you go there. Put it on your
Exactly.
bucket list. Do you have a bucket list?
Yeah, there are a couple of things I'd like to do before I check out of this mortal coil, if you will, but I haven't sat down to write it yet.
Well, here's our next one.
Mm-hmm.
Now, this one is from New York, New Jersey, not New York. This is
Oh,
from New
you
Jersey.
just made a lot of New
It,
Yorkers angry.
I know. Sorry, New York. I meant
Yeah.
to say New Jersey.
Mm-hmm.
Newark,
There you
New
go.
Jersey. It's illegal to purchase ice cream after 6 p.m. unless you have a doctor's note. And I think that's a very strange law.
Mm-hmm.
Why after 6? I mean, I usually have dinner about 5 and then, desserts a little later. So, um, I have no idea why this would be a law. Do you?
Well, I mean, it could be trying to control caloric intake. It could be maybe the fruit industry wants to stop purchase of ice cream. I mean, I know there's a law in the state I grew up in, Maine. I forget which town, but it is illegal to park in front of McDonald's. And when I
Okay.
asked that very same question to you, that you asked me of my students, like, well, why do you think this law is there? Someone said, the mayor owns Burger King. I thought it was pretty good.
That's pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why. 6, it's such a specific time. 6 p.m., no ice cream,
Hmm.
and
Very
I'm
strict father was the mayor of
yeah,
Newark.
something. And it just seems that maybe they reserved ice cream as an afternoon treat and not a night treat, or maybe they thought that if you ate something cold before you went to bed, it wasn't good for your health.
Mm.
Hmm,
Well,
strange
remember,
law.
remember, and was it the right after the war? You had all the doctors smoking cigarettes. Like you should do this about your health.
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. Can
Yeah.
you imagine that if you're a parent and had ice cream after 6 and your child contacted the authorities? My dad had ice cream at 6:05.
Hmm.
I mean, weird. Okay, here's our next one.
Hmm.
Have you heard of this one?
I have not. I have heard of elephants, but I have not heard of their use to plow cotton fields. I've heard of their use to terrorize the Roman army.
Yeah, that's true. It's illegal to use elephants to plow cotton fields. Hmm.
Hmm.
When I heard this, I thought elephants in North Carolina? What? North Carolina has elephants? But I did a little research and found that it actually goes back to the days of P.T. Barnum, which is,
Mm.
for those that don't know, Barnum was a famous circus that came to different towns.
Well,
And when
he
this,
was the leader of the Ellie. He was the leader of this famous circus. He wasn't the circus
right,
itself.
right, right, that's right. It was a person that had put on these shows called circuses,
Hmm.
and yeah, it was his thing. So when the traveling circus came into a town, they would set up in these fields, and they rent these fields from local farmers, and um, then as a publicity stunt, um, they they would promote or would use these elephants with these huge banners on these elephants, and they would have them plow the area around them. Um, More times than not, these elephants did a lot of damage.
Oh yeah.
Um, there was a lot of damage, and the surrounding areas were damaged. Crops, the fields, they weren't the elephants weren't very very careful. They just kind
Gentle,
of went
gentle.
everywhere. Yeah, they weren't
I
careful
think
where
P.T.
they were
Barnum
going.
also tested the Brooklyn Bridge by marching a herd of elephants across the span. And I remember there was I forget what it was advertising, but at the turn of the century, a guy crashed two trains into each other at top speed just because let's do it. Yeah, if
Yes,
there's one thing America excels at, it's doing crazy things to see what happens.
right. Let's just do it.
Yeah, and apparently it like injured some people, if not killed them, but everyone went, yeah! So there you go.
I'm assuming this law only is pertains to cotton fields,
Hmm.
specifically cotton fields. There aren't any other fields that were mentioned in this law, and I'm wondering if the damage done by the elephants, they couldn't grow the crop back, or something. It damaged the cotton fields so much that
Hmm.
it wouldn't grow back, or so. I'm guessing, that's my guess. I'm guessing that
Well,
it was
the
harder
reason
to.
I'm chuckling right now is I'm just imagining in his March to Sea, William Sherman was using elephants. That might have explained a lot.
Yeah.
For Ellie's students, William Sherman was a general in the U.S. Civil War that caused a lot of damage in the South, including taking Atlanta. And he was terrifying to the people in the South because he was just destroying everything. So maybe he took a lesson from Hannibal and took some elephants. Who knows?
Who knows? Maybe. Here's our next one. New Mexico. Let you
Mm-hmm.
take that one.
Sure. In Charizozo, sorry to anybody in that town, New Mexico, it's illegal
Chorizo.
for women to appear unshaven in public. My. So it seems like we don't know what the fine would be, but according to your research, this is still on the books.
Right.
Mm,
According to New Mexico, in this town, it
hmm.
is still illegal. I don't think anyone actually enforces this law.
I would hope not. I'd have questions.
Yeah, yeah. I think that, it doesn't bother me. If a woman doesn't want to shave, more power to you.
Hmm.
I, I think it's a personal choice, really.
Mm.
It's not something that bothers me one way or another. I do know there are some people in the States that would be shocked or, disgusted by it, but I'm not one of them.
Yeah, no, it doesn't bother me either.
I'm waiting for you to ask me if I shave.
No, we're not doing that.
I do shave.
Okay.
But it's like I said, it's a personal preference.
Yeah.
It's a personal
No, what
personal
you know,
preference.
what I my whole thing about rights and liberties is they stop when they affect or hurt another person's rights or liberties, but you do you about personal grooming.
You do you. There's an expression, my students. You do you. That's a
What
good
I'm
one.
saying, Ellie students, is do what you is right for you.
I know. And to think that this is a law, I really would like to know who wrote this law. Why does this law exist? I mean,
Um,
what is a little hair? What's hurting? I don't understand
I don't know, maybe Mary Kay did it. Maybe it was she was
that.
the
Mary
cosmetic
Kay.
giant, right?
Yeah, and I couldn't find the year. I'm sure it was probably somewhere, probably 1800s, because I can't
Oh yeah.
imagine it's something any, you know, early, or,
Oh yeah.
later than 1800s. I think probably somewhere in there.
I mean, one of the laws still in the books in Maine is that you have to bring a gun to church in case of an Indian attack. And I have no idea when the last documented Indian attack on a church happened in Maine, let alone the U.S. But apparently, that law is still in the books.
Right. And I want to specify that when we say Indian, we mean Native Americans,
Yes, yes,
right?
of course.
Right.
Yes, of course.
Uh, we've had to change that because I have a funny little story. Um, I I was attending or visiting a school, and they had me sit in on one of the classes. There was a new teacher. She was, oh, maybe 23, 24, and she was telling the students about Native Americans, but she kept saying the Indians. And there
Mm-hmm.
was this little boy, 5 years old, in the front. They were sitting on the floor, and he said, he raised his hand. And he said, "But we didn't do that. We didn't do that." And the teacher says, "Yes, the Indians did that." And they, "No, they didn't." And the little kid was fighting. And one of the, I was going to say something, but I was the guest, so I didn't
Mm-hmm.
feel right to speak up. But thankfully, someone did and said, "Honey, we mean the Native Americans. We call them Indians too." He said, "Oh, because my family's from India and we're Indians." It was the cutest thing ever. So,
Mm-hmm.
if you hear an American say the Indians, it means that we just grew up with that. That's what
Mm-hmm.
we said. We said Indians. But now, being politically correct,
Mm-hmm.
we say Native Americans.
But to be even more politically correct, we would probably call them indigenous people.
Right. Indigenous people, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you ask the Native Americans, I don't think that bothers them one way or the other.
No.
I, I don't know. If you're a Native American, let us know in the comment section below. Okay, let's look at our next. Let's look at our next law.
Mm-hmm.
Here's our next one. Now, if you have any questions, let me know in the comment section below, and we're happy to answer those for you.
That's everybody today because it's Monday.
Or
That's how they.
try,
Yeah.
right? We can try to answer them. Okay, so we have Nevada.
Mm-hmm.
In Reno, Nevada, it is illegal to sit or lie down upon a public sidewalk or on a blanket or a chair, stool, or any other object upon a public sidewalk in the downtown Reno Regional Center. There we go.
Mm-hmm.
So I kind of understand this law.
Yeah, it's not too
Um,
weird to me. I mean, you don't want to cause an obstruction. I mean, I know one thing when I'm walking down the street that makes me just go berserk is people holding hands because they usually walk very, very slowly and block all traffic. So I don't think this is a particularly weird rule. Do you, Ellie?
no, I don't think I think it's, if someone is lying on the sidewalk or lying on the street, I think that, that's a good law to have
Yeah,
for their safety and for, other people trying to walk on the sidewalk.
yeah. So I don't think it's
Now, here's a
particularly
question.
okay.
Here's a question. Would you step over the person or wake the person? If you were walking and found
Yeah,
someone just
yeah.
lying across the pavement, would you step over them, step around them, or would you stop and say, "Hey, are you okay?"
Well, I mean, I this might not be the answer you like, but I kind of need more information about the scenario because, like, what is the context? Like, if the guy is like surrounded by police, he's already taken care of, or
No, no, no.
if he's
Just lying by himself on the
there.
sidewalk, just like in the photo we have here. Wait, let me
Well, I
keep playing.
mean,
I mean, if you saw
obviously,
him, would you
okay.
step around him? Would you tap him, say, "Hey, are you okay?" Check that he's not dead. What
Well,
would you
again, I
do?
mean, the scenario is like I need to know more because, like, remember where I'm from in New York, you don't know if that guy might jump up at you with a knife or something. That happened to someone that I knew. So
Really?
New York be crazy sometimes. So like I said, I would need to know more about the situation before I could tell you what I would do.
Okay. Okay. Well, in the picture, you can see that he's showing his hands.
Hmm.
So you can see that there isn't any weapons in his hands. If I saw him, like, I would stop and say, "Are you okay?"
Yeah, I would at
Uh,
least do that. But the other reason why I'm hesitating to give an answer is they tell you repeatedly if you see someone injured, don't touch them.
right.
So
Oh, right.
that's why I'm saying
I,
I need to know more information before I can give you an answer.
and I would probably try to see if, there was someone around that could help. Like
Hmm.
maybe, call 911 and say we have a gentleman on the ground not responding.
Hmm. Maybe
There
he
are
just
some
needs to
places in the US where there's a lot of
Monday morning.
homeless people and it's something common, see. And
Hmm.
then I might not stop because if it's like an area where there's a lot of homeless people and you see a lot of people just doing this because they're on drugs,
Hmm.
I probably wouldn't stop then. But if it was just one single person on the sidewalk, like you have in this picture,
Hmm.
then I would probably stop and say, "Hey, are you okay?" Or maybe call someone.
Yeah, and again, that's what I'm saying is like being from New York, it's like you don't know what the situation is. So that's why I would need to know more information or actually be put in the situation to give you an answer.
Okay, let's look at the next one.
Hmm. Okay.
Yeah, this one, I don't know. It's oh,
Hmm.
uh, I
So
think in did I skip one?
well, that's fine. I mean, so it's illegal to gargle.
Yeah, I
Okay.
skipped Florida, didn't I? Yeah, it's illegal to gargle in public places.
Hmm. Shall I demonstrate?
And and sure. Oh, good.
Here you go.
That was a pretty good gargle. But why? It's illegal to gargle in public places. But my question is, why have this law? Are people doing that in public?
Um, I wouldn't say it's that strange because there like on YouTube there's a rash of people doing things just because they can and they want to and saying because I can and I want to. So and even if you have an explicit rule saying don't do that, they'll just say no. So I you would be surprised what people think they could do in public. Um, so I would also question why, but I don't question why they shouldn't because it is kind of a hygiene issue.
Right, right. I think if I was uh, living in the US and had money to travel,
Mm-hmm.
I think it would be fun to do a YouTube video where you're in each of these different states and saying, "Oh, I'm breaking the law," and then gargle in public or stand the
Someone
wrong way in the elevator.
someone did something like that in with British law. I remember
Oh,
watching it, and I think the only time someone like a cop came up to him was because it was so insane that like it was more like "Are you okay?" and not like "You're breaking the law." And I think like he explained to the cop, "Oh, I'm breaking the law," and he's like, "Oh," and like he's like, "Are you gonna arrest me?" He's like, "No."
not today.
Yeah, it's like the cop looked genuinely confused. So I think it was something about like you can't wear a suit of armor outside the Houses of Parliament or something. It was something about wearing something outside of the Houses of Parliament, which is their main government building. And the cop came up to him more out of "Are you okay?" not out of "You're breaking the law."
Strange laws around the world. Hey,
Mm,
let me know if you know of any strange laws in your uh, town, city, country, wherever you are. Post
mm,
them in the comments section below. We'd love to know what are some of the crazy laws in your country.
sure. Whether
I wonder.
that's my Czech Republic or say Ireland, who knows what crazy
Yeah,
laws there are.
crazy laws.
Hmm.
Okay, this one. Oh, I was going to ask you before we go to this
Hmm.
one. I was going to ask you, do you do you gargle?
Not
See,
really.
I only gargle if I have a sore throat. Then I use salt water,
Yeah,
and I gargle salt water when I have a sore throat. But that's the only time, really. When I use mouthwash, I don't gargle. Um, what about you? Do you gargle?
not really. No.
No, no. All right, let's go back. I skipped Florida. I don't know how that happened. Um,
It's just too strange and crazy.
yeah. Let's go back to Florida. Okay, so
Hmm.
uh, a law still stands on the books that makes it illegal for Florida residents to fart in a public place after 6 p.m. on a Thursday. Now I tried to find out why only on Thursday after 6, but apparently in Australia it's illegal to fart and there's a fine of 660 Aussie dollars or
Hmm.
3 month stint in jail. So 3 months in jail or $660
Hmm.
on
Well,
Thursday. On
okay.
Thursday. Monday, fine. Tuesday, fine. But Thursday, it's illegal. Again,
Well, there
what's on
is a
Thursday?
concept in some areas of the U.S. called Thirsty Thursday because it's the day before Friday and people want to go out and have a drink. So maybe Florida is trying to control the craziness on some level.
No, that's in Australia. The one
Oh,
in
okay.
Australia. In
No,
Australia,
but
it's
I'm
only
saying the
on.
same thing about Florida since you just have the rule up there that
Oh, right.
Thirsty Thursday. Maybe that's why they did it. Otherwise,
Right. In Florida, it's only on Thursday. Yeah.
yes, that's what I'm
In
saying.
Australia, it's
So,
all every day in Australia, it's every day in the week, but in Florida, it's only on Thursday.
yeah, sure. But I'm
Because
just saying that maybe Florida is trying to combat that. Who knows?
yeah, I sure would like to know why. Why Thursday?
Florida
I
is
would
one of those
think
states you probably don't want to get too close to, as I've discussed in a previous podcast.
I would think Sunday would be the day you wouldn't want to fart because it's usually
The
reserved
Lord's
for
Day.
day of rest, and
Mm,
we don't want you too comfortable.
who knows?
Okay, I had to cover that one because I thought that was hilarious.
It's certainly, I guess probably the other thing could have been like someone like I don't know, the guy who makes laws in Florida was like 5 minutes from his vacation, and his boss came in and said you can't leave until you give me a new rule. So he just decided I'll give you a rule.
Fart.
Yeah, exactly.
Okay, now
Hmm.
let's go to the next one, which is in Maine. It's
Ah, yes.
illegal to keep Christmas decorations up after January 14th. Now, I usually take down the decorations after New Year's, but sometimes
Hmm.
I wait the full 12 days after Christmas. It's about the 6th. It just depends on what day of the week it falls on. I prefer taking them down over a weekend. So
Hmm. My family also
that's
prefers
my
putting
preference.
stuff up on the weekends and then taking it down over the weekend.
Hmm.
But my father would put up the Christmas lights the weekend after Thanksgiving. Well, technically, no, I think what he would do is
Oh.
he would take the Monday off the week after Thanksgiving because my sister and I had gone back to school. My mom had gone back to work. And so he had the house to himself. So he would just go and put up the Christmas lights. Although I think if he could get away with it, he would just plug a bunch of lights together and just throw it over the house and say done.
Yeah, here we put them up. I try to put them up the first week of December.
Hmm.
I like to have them up the month of December. I don't put them up in November, but if it again, it depends on the weekend. You know, if it's like if December 1st falls on a Sunday, then I'm going to probably put them up Friday or Saturday.
Hmm.
Um, and then, it's nice to have those up. Here, they keep most, I don't want to say all because I've seen a few, but almost all of the lights here are white.
Hmm.
And they're left up all winter long, and they're called winter lights. So it covers Christmas and the winter.
Hmm.
So if you go downtown, you'll see trees all lit up in white lights, and they stay up all winter long. Uh, so, so, oh, it's not Christmas lights, they're winter lights. We still have lights up. The lights are still
Hmm.
up.
Well, while we're
What about,
talking about, sorry, go ahead.
mhm.
I was going to say,
No, I was
while
going
we're
to ask
talking
you,
about Maine, there is another
uh-huh.
rule that law that I want to add, and that is that you may not step out of a plane in flight.
Really? So
Yep.
you're up in the air and you decide, I want to jump out of the plane.
No, no. No, no. So
I
if the
know that
plane is
it's,
crashing, you better hope a policeman isn't on board because he's not going to let you get out of the plane.
I know that it's illegal to open that door, to mess
Hmm.
with that door.
Yeah.
Um, so I would hope that someone would stop you before you actually got the door open to
Mm-hmm.
jump out.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I'm not going to go there. I was going to say, what
Well, no,
happens
I
if
mean,
you do? And
it is also illegal in the capital of Augusta to stroll down the street playing a violin.
wow,
Yep.
okay. A specific instrument,
Yes, the violin. I had no idea about the tuba. I know
the
that in
tuba.
Portland, the largest city, I was allowed to sing as part of a choir group walking down the street. So I guess that's okay.
Hmm. So you could sing, but you couldn't play the violin.
Hmm.
Okay, that's funny. I do sort of like this law
Hmm.
because I do think, well, here we call it winter lights, so it just seems strange to have the lights up all year, all winter long, not all year long, but all
Hmm.
winter long. But I do like to see the Christmas decorations go down. I'm happy that they go up. I love, when they go up, but it's nice to have that break. That
Hmm.
Christmas is Christmas. It's like something special. And then if you leave it up longer than Christmas time, that takes
Hmm.
away, for me, it takes away some of that special feeling about it.
Hmm.
And I've gotten used to the winter lights, so that's okay. But the Christmas decorations and the little, they do take those things down. Like,
Hmm.
you don't see Santa's sleigh and the reindeers and things like that. They do put
Hmm.
up. Those things do come down. They even decorate some of the cranes. The cranes that they're building buildings around,
Yep.
and they have these huge cranes, and at the top of the crane there's a Christmas tree, or there might be a reindeer. Um, but those things come down after the holidays.
Hmm.
I don't know. It's just nice to be able to have that special time.
Yeah.
Okay,
My
question.
father was very strict on it had to be after Thanksgiving and before or around New Year's. That's how he was about Christmas decorations or anything Christmas. If he saw anything before Thanksgiving, he would get irritated.
Right.
And I can't blame him because Christmas does seem to be like expanding every year.
Yeah.
One of my favorite comedians, Lewis Black, said, "When does Christmas really start now? July 7th." Because of how eager people are to put out Christmas displays and stuff.
Right. and you think, oh, we haven't even had Thanksgiving, and they're
Hmm.
showing the Christmas decorations are up already.
Which was his favorite holiday, as I think I mentioned in the American Customs episode. He got to sit, he got to eat turkey, he got to watch sports. He was very happy.
All right, let's look at our next law. There, it's illegal to curse loudly in public.
Hmm.
Oh, so you're saying bad words.
Hmm.
I have a funny story.
Okay, good.
Um, in, in Michigan, we had a similar law.
Hmm.
Um, it, it, it was repealed in 2002. Okay,
Hmm.
so Timothy Boomer, this is the
Hmm.
man that got into trouble, fell
Hmm.
into a river in the 90s. I don't remember exactly when.
Hmm.
Uh, and he was reported to say some curse words, loudly uttered some profanities, right? You son of a, right? Something. I don't know
Hmm.
what he said, but
Hmm.
swore in the
Hmm.
presence of a woman and her son,
Okay.
and he was charged with a misdemeanor.
Hmm.
As cursing is illegal in Michigan for like I don't know, it was over 100 years, 100 years or so. And in an attempt to appeal his conviction, uh, Mr. Boomer
Hmm.
successfully made uh, cursing legal. He made it legal in Michigan.
Hmm.
But I still think that he had to do community service.
Hmm.
And he did get a misdemeanor that was overturned, so it's not on his permanent record.
Hmm.
And so he helped to repeal this law.
Truly great reform.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That was
uh,
big news when I lived in Michigan. That was big news that happened because um, the argument there was that he uh, had freedom of speech, right? We always say,
hmm.
oh, it's freedom of speech, it's freedom of speech. But because it was a law that trumped his freedom of speech law. So it's like two laws. One says you can say whatever you want, and the other one saying, not in front of women and children. So that was the problem there.
Hmm.
And he overturned it. So yay to Timothy Boomer. Shout out to Timothy Boomer wherever you are. Um,
And who, yeah, and who says things don't change or get better in America? Um,
right, right.
so, no, I mean, obviously, swearing is up to the individual person. Being from New York, there are certain words that I used as a comma there and still do. And if I said them in front of my mom, she'd probably just kind of shrug or be annoyed. But then there are other swears that if I say it in front of her, she will be angry. Let's just say that. So, I mean, it all depends on the person and the swear. Um, I personally don't think freedom of speech means you get to say whatever you want, but obviously, people should be allowed to express themselves.
Hmm, hmm. We have a kind of a rule here, not a rule, but it's something we say is if you're going to swear, swear with purpose.
Mm,
If you have a purpose to why you're swearing, that's one thing. But if you're saying a swear word every other sentence,
hmm.
then it loses something. It makes you sound as though you don't own a dictionary.
Hmm.
So if you're swearing because there's a reason for it, okay. But if it's just casual swearing, uh, no, we don't
Yeah.
allow that. No casual swearing. Swear with purpose, damn it.
I remember a comic written by a fan of a TV show that I liked. I'm going somewhere with this, where
Okay.
the mother was like very strict and moral and upright, and the daughter was helping her clean up after dinner, and she stubbed her toe, and she said a very angry swear. Let's just say that. And so the daughter immediately goes, "Oh, if mom says it, I get to say it." And the mother says, "Doug, can you help me out?" And he goes and he says, "Connie, you can say it, but only in the exact same situation." And the mother's like screaming his name in the background.
I was watching shorts, and there was this little I don't know, little boy, little girl, I wasn't sure,
Hmm.
but a little kid, about 3 years old, maybe four, and the father got mad at a play. It was they're watching
Hmm.
football, and he got mad at a play, and he went and he said the bad word, and then the kid looked at his dad, and looked at the TV, and they went and repeated exactly what the father said, and the look of shock on his father's face, like, oh, don't say that, and the kid was like, but you said it. You could just see that interaction between the two of them. Like, I'm
Apparently,
old enough to say
yeah.
that, but you can't say it.
Apparently, the first word I ever said was one of the swear words because my father was quite expressive when his teams weren't doing well, and so I would be sitting with him watching, and then apparently one day I just started saying it, clapping my hands together. Mom was not impressed with that,
Oh no. Oh
but she
no.
was probably even less impressed with the fact I kept falling off the bed crying because he was too busy watching the game.
Oh no. Yeah, no, I don't know when I don't know when I said my first swear word. I don't.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Let's look at the next one.
Yes.
The next one's in Alaska.
Mm-hmm.
Let me switch over the screen. Maryland. No,
We did
Alaska.
that one. Yep.
Yeah, Alaska. There we go. I'll let you take that one over.
Oh, okay. So children are prohibited, not allowed, from creating snowmen that are taller than them when they are on school property. So I guess that's a teacher measuring the snowman. I don't know.
Well, yeah, I think that this law was put into place due to some excessive snowfall in the state.
Hmm.
Uh, so they see a lot of snow in the state, and so rescue workers and school administrators can tell the difference between a snowman and actual children. So,
Hmm.
so they get a lot of snow in Alaska, and so for the rescue workers and for teachers to tell the difference, they've made this law, so they know that it's a snowman versus a child.
Hmm.
In Michigan, children, and I'm saying Michigan. I don't know about other states, but children can't hide in piles of leaves that are left on the streets.
Hmm.
See, a kid was hiding in a pile of leaves, and a driver
Yeah.
thought it would be funny to drive through these leaves, and ended up unfortunately killing the child that was hiding in the pile. And I don't think it's illegal, but kids have been warned about doing it.
Hmm.
I don't think there's a law in Michigan that prevents kids from doing it, but um, kids are warned not to hide in piles of leaves that are on the streets. See, we put the leaves on the street so the city workers can come and collect the leaves. And because in the past, when I was a kid, we used to burn them. We'd put them in the street
Yep.
and burn the leaves. But now there is a law against burning things in the streets, but not for kids hiding in the leaves.
Yeah, no, my father would just rake the leaves and take them out behind the house because there's like a little forested area nearby, so he just let them decompose out there. But
Mm.
I don't remember him ever putting them on the side of the street, and I definitely don't remember him burning anything in the street.
My grandfather used to burn them.
Okay.
I think even if you dug along the perimeter of the property, you could
Hmm.
see where he burned, because he burned leaves every fall. Every fall, um, we would we rake them and take them down to the edge of the property by the street and burn them.
Hmm.
Um, but I think then later he used an oil drum barrel, one of those big barrels that are made of metal. He would
Right.
burn things in one of those. So it went from the street to one of those.
I don't think my family did that, but I remember seeing that somewhere in Maine.
Mm-hmm. Somehow that
So,
must have seemed safer.
mhm. So since you shared some rules, I figured I have some rules of my own to share.
Great.
So why don't we go to Kentucky? It is illegal in Kentucky to marry the same man more than 3 times.
So if you marry this man, divorce the man, marry the man
Mhm,
again, and divorce the man, and then marry the man a third time, that's
mhm.
illegal? Really?
Apparently, I have a lot of questions, but yes, apparently that is illegal.
Okay.
Meanwhile, why don't we return to Louisiana? Biting someone with your natural teeth uh, is simple assault, but biting someone with your false teeth, like George Washington would have had, is aggravated assault.
Oh, oh. Okay. The so you wouldn't get a fine or some sort of punishment if you
Mm-hmm,
bit somebody, but if you had
mm-hmm.
false teeth, you would serve some jail time or pay
I,
a fine.
yep, yes.
There you go.
Mm-hmm. And in
But you know
Massachusetts,
what you could do? You could say, come here, bite this person for me." You could call somebody over. Will you? I've got false teeth. Come here, you bite.
well, they're only in America is a saying for a reason, I guess. So in Massachusetts, they take food very seriously.
Mhm.
If you deface, if you ruin or scar up a milk carton, you have to pay a $10 fine.
Okay.
Meanwhile, if you put tomatoes in clam chowder, it's illegal.
Oh, good. That
Now,
should be
that one,
illegal.
I
No.
think that pineapple on pizza deserves the death penalty myself, but so I don't really have a problem with that one.
No, yeah, tomatoes and
Mm-hmm.
I love clam chowder. I like the New England clam chowder, the creamy one.
Yes. Yeah, I've made it a
Yeah.
few times. It's pretty good. Meanwhile, in Missouri, in the city of Purdy, dancing is strictly prohibited.
Again, wait. Dancing is
Strictly prohibited.
strictly prohibited, like
Mm-hmm.
anywhere.
Mm-hmm.
No, in a
Yes.
city or in the state.
In the city of Purdy.
Oh, the city pretty.
Yeah.
Mm.
Um, in Nevada, it is illegal to drive a camel on the highway.
Okay, wait. Is it illegal to ride the camel or take
It
the
is
camel
it is
for a
illegal
ride?
to drive a camel on the highway. That's how the rule is written.
But we would ride a camel, not drive a camel. So that's the question. I assume that the camel would
I'm
be
guessing
in
they
some
mean in the
sort of.
drive in the sense of like riding the camel, I would imagine.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. See, English is crazy. The way it's stated, it sounds
Mm-hmm.
like you're driving a car with a camel in the back seat or something. You drive
Mm-hmm.
them somewhere. So if you say,
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to drive him to the airport, right? I'm going to drive him to the store. You're
Mm-hmm.
driving and the camel's in the back. Or if you're riding the camel, you're on top of the camel riding the camel. So that's an interesting way to put that.
Mm-hmm. So back in New Mexico, obviously, right now we don't get into it, but a lot of people like to discuss that this politician is evil, this politician is bad. But I have found one who might be the most evil politician ever in American history. A city council member in Albuquerque, New Mexico, demanded a resolution to ban Santa Claus.
No.
As I said, I don't think you could get more evil than that. Fortunately, the matter was defeated.
Okay, good. Little kids everywhere
Yes,
going, yay.
I know. Like I said, that's ultimate evil.
I wonder if he was overly religious. Because I
Yeah, I
know
mean,
some religions think that Santa is backwards for Satan and the red suit is, kind of a devil thing. I heard that once and I was like, really? No?
oh,
Maybe that was the reason.
they they don't want to come to the Czech Republic. Then we have baby
No, no.
Jesus.
Yeah.
But do you remember the December 5th with the Angels and the Devils?
Yes, yes. Poor
Oh yeah, no,
kids. Poor kids.
yeah. Oh, for Ellie students, what I'm talking about is the devil comes to visit you, and if you don't sing him a song, he will take you to hell. Yep.
That's right. He was a collector of he was a collector of children.
Yes, and meanwhile, my sister and I grew up with my mother acting like Santa's elves were the Gestapo because every time we got into a fight, my mother would say, "I saw an elf," and we would just be. So it was a great way for her to get us quiet around like October, November. She liked doing it. So in Philadelphia, Pennsylvania, the city of brotherly love, there is no love for pretzels in bags. You cannot put a pretzel in a bag in Philadelphia.
Okay, because it's bad for the environment, right?
Mm.
Ooh. I would assume that's why.
So South Dakota saw the rules of Reno, Nevada, and thought, I can do one better. In South Dakota, it is illegal to lie down and fall asleep in a cheese factory.
Huh. Are you talking about the workers?
It just says it is illegal to lie down and fall asleep in a cheese factory.
I would think that maybe that would be the rule for anyone employed at a cheese factory.
Mm.
People falling asleep on the job.
Mm-hmm.
Because can you imagine if you were touring the factory and decided to lie down and take a nap?
Well, I mean, we could get crazier. Let's look at Tennessee. It is
Yes, let's get
illegal.
crazier.
Yes, it is illegal for frogs to croak after 11 p.m. in Tennessee.
Now, how are they going to enforce that law?
I
Killing
don't
frogs?
know. I just have that, everybody has the image, which is wrong, of like police running with their sticks to hit people. Now I just have this image of police running after frogs to hit them after 11 p.m. because they're croaking.
Yeah,
Uh,
yeah. Huh.
but meanwhile, in the town of Oneida, still in Tennessee, an ordinance forbids anyone to sing the song "It Ain't Gonna Gun to Rain No More." So if you sing that song, you are in a lot of legal trouble.
Ain't gonna because it's grammar. It's bad grammar.
I guess. I mean, I couldn't even read it right, and
Talk
it's
about
wrong.
grammar police. It's the grammar police.
Yeah, they're the more politically correct version of that institution.
Wait, is that the title of the song?
It ain't going to rain no more.
I think, I don't want to get a strike on here,
Mm.
but if I were to, it, it was it was a song in 1936. Um, can I play some of it here?
Mm.
Uh, I thought so. You can find it on YouTube if you can
Mm-hmm.
open YouTube. You can find it on YouTube. I'll post the link in the description box below. But here's the song. Um, oops.
Mm-hmm.
And I thought it would be a little catchier, like da,
Mm.
da, da, like a little faster, but he plays it quite slow.
Was
Like
all the
I,
fun.
oh,
Along came the choo-choo train, toot-toot peanut butter. Oh, it ain't gonna rain no more, no more. It ain't gonna rain no more.
There it
I,
is.
I
How in
said
heck?
I have this image now of the police running in and beating him up for singing this song.
Can you
Now,
imagine? No, you can't sing that song.
hands behind your back. Yeah, exactly. Now, in America, even in America itself, there's an image of Texas being wild and crazy and irrational, even more than Florida. But that is not true because a recent law requires criminals to give their victims 24 hours notice, either orally or in writing, and to explain the nature of the crime they're planning to commit.
Right, I read that. I don't know if that's an actual law that's still on the books today, though.
Yeah,
But
but I
I
can't keep a
did read
straight
that, and
face,
I
you
thought,
see.
well, how can they, well, do they get lesser punishment if they, if they go into a police station and say, hey, at 5 o'clock tonight, I'm going to rob this house. Bye. And then actually go there, rob the house, and then they go before a judge. They say,
Mm,
well, I warned you. Does that mean he kind of, gets off, doesn't have to, you doesn't get a punishment, doesn't, you know,
I have no idea. All I know is it's an easy way to get a new Xbox or PlayStation. Just tell someone, hey, I'm going to take it in 24 hours. Is that okay?
that's weird. That's weird.
Oh, it gets weirder in Utah because birds have the right of way on all highways. So if you're driving on the highway in Utah and you see a bird, you have to let it go ahead of you
On the highway.
on the
Can you imagine
highway. Yes.
slamming your brakes on the highway to let a bird
Hmm.
pass? That sounds more
Hmm.
dangerous than running over the bird.
Hmm.
Okay, well, on that wild and crazy note, um, I'm going to post this PDF file on my website at englishfunzone.com. So if you sign up and you join English Fun Zone, you can download this PPT. I almost said PDF. It's a PPT file, and you can add your own crazy laws to it if you want to use this PPT file or for your students or in your class, or if you're a teacher
Hmm.
and want to do some crazy laws. So
Hmm.
go to englishfunzone.com. I'll post the link in the description box, but you do have to sign up in order to download it. And uh, next week, we're going to be doing a requested live stream, which is a part 2 of fun facts in the U.S. Now, if you haven't seen part 1, I'll post part 1 in the description box below. Watch part 1, and then part 2 will be on March 25th at 11:30, same time, same place, with Brad and me.
Hmm.
So thank you so much for watching today. Brad, again, thanks for joining me and talking
Thanks for
about
hosting.
strange and crazy laws. All right. See you all next time.
See you soon,
Bye.
kids. Bye.